Chapter 12. The Heart of Eternity. The path to the Heart of Eternity stretched before Elias and Isabella like a thread of silver light in the shadows of the ancient city. The fragments pulsed softly, illuminating the intricate carvings etched into the walls of the hidden passage. Every step echoed with the weight of history. Every breath carried the tension of the approaching climax. "This is it," Isabella whispered, her eyes scanning the walls. The manuscripts indicate the chamber lies just ahead, but it is heavily protected. Traps, puzzles, and tests designed to prevent the unworthy from entering. Elias swallowed, feeling both anticipation and dread. "And Lucien?" "Lucien will be there," Isabella replied, voice steady. "He believes he alone can wield the heart, but we have knowledge, courage, and trust on our side. That will guide us through what comes next." The passage narrowed, the air growing colder, heavier. Shadows seemed to stretch unnaturally along the stone walls, twisting with the faint glow of the fragments. The floor was inscribed with geometric patterns, symbols that required precise alignment of the crystal fragments to progress. Elias carefully placed each fragment according to the manuscript's instructions. The patterns pulsed with light, responding to their arrangement. A low hum resonated through the corridor, signaling that the mechanism was activating. Suddenly, the floor shifted beneath them, revealing a pit lined with sharp obsidian spikes. Elias froze. "A trap!" Isabella's voice was calm but urgent. "Follow the manuscript sequence exactly. One misstep, and it's over." Step by careful step, they navigated the trap, each pulse of the fragments guiding them safely across. The floor stabilized as they reached the massive chamber door at the end of the passage. It was carved from black stone, etched with the history of the obscured empire. Scholars, warriors, and mystics intertwined in an eternal dance. Lucien emerged from the shadows, his presence commanding and chilling. "You've come far," he said, his voice echoing through the corridor. "But the final trial is mine to control." Elias stepped forward, holding the medallion tightly. "We will not allow you to claim it. The Heart of Eternity belongs to those who understand its responsibility, not those who seek power." Lucien smiled, cold and calculating. "Responsibility? That is a word for the weak. Knowledge is power, and power is meant to be wielded by the strong. Step aside or perish." With a sudden motion, Lucien triggered the chamber's first mechanism. Panels shifted, revealing hidden spikes, swinging blades, and descending stone pillars. The chamber itself became a lethal puzzle, each movement demanding intelligence, timing, and courage. "Stay close," Isabella shouted, grabbing Elias's arm. "Every mechanism corresponds to the fragments. Follow the pulses." Together, they navigated the shifting chamber, aligning the fragments with etched symbols on the walls. The crystals glowed brightly, responding to their correct placements. But Lucien advanced with deadly precision, intercepting their movements and attempting to seize the fragments. Elias ducked under a swinging blade, countering Lucien's strike with the medallion. The force of the impact sent a shockwave through the chamber, dislodging dust and stones. Isabella darted to flank Lucien, her dagger flashing as she parried his attacks. "You are persistent," Lucien said, deflecting her strike. "But persistence alone cannot save you from history's judgment." The chamber trembled again, revealing the final mechanism, a massive stone puzzle in the center of the room, inscribed with the most complex symbols of the obscured empire. The manuscripts indicated that only by combining fragments, intellect, and moral discernment could the puzzle be solved. Elias approached cautiously, medallion and fragments in hand. "The puzzle isn't just physical," he realized. "It tests character, decisions, ethics." Isabella nodded. "We must act together. One wrong choice, one misaligned symbol, and the chamber itself could be our tomb." Step by careful step, they aligned the fragments, interpreting symbols that represented balance, justice, and wisdom. The crystals pulsed in resonance, illuminating a path forward. Lucien tried to interfere, but each action he took was countered by their synchronized movements and insight into the Empire's intentions. As the final fragment clicked into place, a brilliant light filled the chamber. The heart of eternity was revealed, a crystalline core suspended above a pedestal, radiating an ethereal glow. It seemed to pulse with life, as if aware of the hands reaching toward it. Lucien's eyes widened with both awe and rage. How? Elias stepped forward, feeling the power radiate from the heart. It's not about possession, he said. It's about understanding, responsibility, and respect. Lucien lunged in desperation, attempting to seize the heart. The chamber reacted violently. The floor trembled, walls shifted, and energy arcs surged toward him. He was thrown back, the force of the chamber's defense throwing him against a wall. Isabella's hand found Elias's as the chamber settled. The heart of eternity glowed steadily, calm now that the correct hands were aligned with it. Lucien, bruised and defeated, looked up with fury and disbelief. "You think you've won?" he spat. "This is only temporary. Knowledge demands power." Elias shook his head. "Power without understanding is chaos. The Empire created the heart to test worthiness, not to serve ambition. You failed the trial." Lucien's gaze hardened, but he could not approach further. The chamber's defenses remained active, neutralizing any attempt to seize the heart improperly. He vanished into a hidden passage, retreating but leaving a chilling warning. Isabella exhaled, relief mixing with exhaustion. It's over for now. But Lucien will regroup. The order is not finished. We must prepare for what comes next. Elias gazed at the heart of eternity, feeling its energy hum through the chamber. "We've done it. We've reached it. And survived." "Yes," Isabella said softly. "But the journey is far from over. The heart of eternity is only part of the story. Its knowledge must be protected, understood, and respected. Our choices now will shape the future." They approached the pedestal carefully, securing the heart for transport, aware that every step out of the chamber was still fraught with potential danger. Yet the first major trial was complete. For the first time they felt the weight of success, not just in survival, but in understanding the responsibility that came with the relic's power. As they prepared to exit the chamber, Elias and Isabella exchanged a look, one of determination, trust, and unity. The manuscripts pulsed faintly, guiding them toward the next stage of their journey. Lucien and the Shadowed Order remained threats, but for the first time, Elias felt a semblance of control. Knowledge, courage, and trust had triumphed over ambition and obsession. Above the city, the morning sun broke through the fog, illuminating the ancient streets and towers. Below, the heart of eternity awaited its next chapter, guarded by those who understood its purpose and prepared to face the challenges yet to come. Elias tightened his grip on the medallion, Isabella at his side. Together, they would protect the relic, continue the journey, and confront whatever trials awaited beyond the chamber. History had tested them, and they had endured. The story of the obscured empire was not yet complete, but its secrets were finally within reach. Chapter 13. Echoes of Power. The city lay bathed in the late morning sun, its streets waking to the familiar rhythms of life. But for Elias and Isabella, the world above ground seemed distant and unreal. The heart of eternity rested securely in their satchel, pulsing faintly, as if aware that it had finally found hands worthy of its protection. "We've done it," Elias whispered, almost in disbelief. "We've secured the heart." Isabella shook her head slowly. "Secured, yes, but not safe. The Shadowed Order and Lucien will not rest. Every move we make will be observed. Every ally may be a threat. We've only passed the first trial of survival, not the war that follows." Elias looked down at the glowing fragments. "It's heavier than I imagined. Not physically, but the responsibility." "Exactly," Isabella said. "The heart isn't just a relic. It's knowledge, power, and history intertwined. Its influence is subtle and profound. Every choice we make with it has consequences far beyond this city, or even this generation." They moved cautiously through the rooftops, the early sun glinting off broken tiles and chimneys. Below, the city seemed ordinary, bustling, unaware, and yet precariously close to the shadow of the order. "Where to now?" Elias asked. Isabella glanced at the manuscripts. "The next step is to understand the heart's deeper powers. There are layers hidden even from Lucian. The obscured empire designed it so that only those who could combine courage, intellect, and morality would unlock its full potential. We must find those layers before the order does." Their journey took them to an abandoned observatory at the edge of the city, an ancient structure once used to track celestial movements. The manuscripts hinted that the Heart of Eternity responded to alignment with the stars, a final key hidden in plain sight. Inside, the observatory was dust-laden and silent, except for the faint hum of the heart. Elias placed the fragments on a circular stone table, their glow intensifying as Isabella traced the carvings with her fingers. "The inscriptions indicate a sequence of activation," she said, "but it's more than symbols. The heart reacts to thought, intent, and understanding. We must focus, together." Elias nodded, placing a hand near the heart. "Then we align, not just the fragments, but our intentions." They concentrated, recalling the manuscript's guidance. Symbols glowed brighter, and the chamber pulsed with a soft, rhythmic energy. Images flickered in their minds, visions of the obscured empire, scholars debating philosophy, warriors defending knowledge, and mystics testing the morality of those who sought power. Suddenly, a sharp noise broke their focus. A shadow detached itself from the corner of the observatory. Lucian stepped into the light, his presence commanding and menacing. "Impressive," he said, voice calm yet filled with danger. "You've reached further than I expected. But the heart is not meant for you. Its power will be mine." Elias and Isabella rose, defensive but unwavering. "Not if we understand it first," Elias said. "Its purpose is responsibility, not ambition." Lucien's expression darkened. "Responsibility is for the weak. Knowledge must be wielded. Step aside or be destroyed." Without warning, the chamber erupted. Hidden mechanisms activated. Stone barriers, shifting floors, and energy pulses from the heart itself. The observatory had become a battleground, combining intellect, agility, and strategy. Isabella ducked under a falling beam, her dagger flashing to deflect a metallic lever swinging toward them. "Elias, focus on the symbols. They respond to understanding, not force." Elias adjusted the fragments, aligning them precisely with the carvings on the table. The heart pulsed in resonance, its energy stabilizing the chamber and creating protective barriers that shielded them from Lucian's assault. Lucian growled, frustration evident. "Clever, but you cannot escape history's will. The order will prevail." Outside, the faint sound of the shadowed order regrouping reached them. Agents scaled the observatory's walls, preparing to breach. Elias realized they were now caught between Lucian and the approaching order. Every moment counted. "The heart can protect us," Isabella said urgently, "but only if we unlock its deeper layers. Trust me, I know the manuscripts." Together they concentrated, the heart responding to their combined intent. The fragments glowed with increasing intensity, projecting holographic maps and symbols above the table. Paths, probabilities, and ethical dilemmas all intertwined with the heart's energy. Lucien lunged, trying to seize a fragment, but the chamber's protective energy deflected him. The heart's power responded not to brute force, but to understanding. Each correct alignment reinforced the barrier. Each misstep weakened it. Elias realized the truth. The heart's deeper powers were tied not to domination, but to insight. Knowledge was not just to be held, it was to be comprehended, weighed, and applied wisely. "Lucien will never understand," Elias muttered, aligning the final fragment. A surge of light erupted from the heart, sweeping through the observatory, casting shadows and illuminating hidden symbols throughout the chamber. Lucien was thrown back, shielded only partially by the protective barriers. His face twisted with rage and disbelief. You fools," he spat. "You cannot control it. Its power is absolute. Elias stood firm, feeling the pulse of the heart through his body. It is absolute, but only in the hands of those who understand its purpose. Knowledge is responsibility. Power without wisdom is chaos. Lucien roared and vanished into the shadows, retreating, but leaving a warning. The order was still active, and their pursuit would not end. Breathing heavily, Isabella exhaled. We've unlocked the heart's deeper layers. But this is only the beginning. Its power is vast, and the order will stop at nothing to claim it. Elias nodded, placing the heart carefully into the satchel. Then we move. We gather allies, prepare defenses, and continue the journey. We cannot let it fall into the wrong hands. The observatory's chambers pulsed softly, a reminder of the heart's subtle, pervasive influence. Outside, the city moved unaware of the battle for knowledge and power unfolding above and below its streets. Isabella looked at Elias, determination in her eyes. We've survived the trials, learned from the manuscripts, and unlocked a power few could comprehend. But the story isn't finished. The heart of eternity will reveal more secrets and more dangers before we can claim victory. Elias tightened his grip on the medallion, fragment secured, ready for the challenges ahead. Then we face them, together. The sun climbed higher, illuminating the city, as shadows shifted and agents of the order regrouped. The heart of eternity pulsed softly in resonance with its protectors, guiding them toward the next stage of a journey that would test intellect, courage, and morality to their limits. The echoes of power stretched across the city, warning all who sought it. The heart was no mere relic. It was a living testament to responsibility, wisdom, and the enduring challenge of history itself. Chapter 14. The Gathering Storm. The city had settled into an uneasy calm. Though the morning sun had burned away the lingering fog, a sense of tension hung in the air, palpable to those who knew the true stakes. Elias and Isabella moved through the quiet streets with purpose, the heart of eternity secured and fragments safely stored. Every glance over a shoulder reminded them that the shadowed order and Lucien were still active, still plotting. "We need allies," Isabella said, her voice low but firm. The manuscripts hint at other guardians, scholars, historians, even descendants of the obscured empire. They understand the heart's purpose and the dangers of misuse. "We cannot face the order alone," Elias nodded, feeling the weight of her words. "Where do we start?" "The archives of time," Isabella replied. "Many of the scholars who once protected the Empire's secrets still live, hidden in plain sight. If we approach them carefully, we can gather the knowledge and skill necessary for what comes next." Their first destination was an old monastery on the outskirts of the city, long abandoned yet meticulously preserved by a small order of historians. Inside, dust hung in the air, mingling with the scent of aged parchment and candle wax. Shelves of manuscripts and relics lined the walls, the accumulated knowledge of centuries waiting silently. An elderly monk greeted them, his eyes sharp despite his age. "You seek knowledge," he said, voice calm but curious. "The manuscripts have chosen their protectors wisely. What you carry is not merely a relic, but a test." Elias revealed the fragments and medallion, explaining their journey and the retrieval of the heart of eternity. The monk studied them carefully, nodding. "The order has long sought to wield this power without understanding. You must gather those who understand history, morality, and wisdom. Only then can the heart fulfill its purpose." Isabella added, "We need allies willing to fight, not just with strength, but with intellect and foresight. The Order's tactics are relentless, and Lucien is cunning beyond most comprehension." The monk smiled faintly. "There are 3 who can assist you. Scholars, strategists, and warriors, all descendants of those who once served the Empire. Seek them, and the heart's protection will be ensured." Leaving the monastery with new guidance, Elias and Isabella set out to locate the first of these allies, Aurelia Vance, a historian known for decoding ancient texts and understanding the moral implications embedded within them. Her residence, a secluded library atop a hill, overlooked the city's sprawl. Aurelia greeted them with cautious curiosity. "You carry something extraordinary," she said, eyes drawn to the fragments. "The manuscripts have whispered of their awakening. But the Order will stop at nothing. Why should I trust you?" Elias met her gaze steadily. "Because we seek knowledge, not domination. Because we have faced Lucian and survived. And because the manuscripts themselves indicate that only through unity and understanding can the heart's power be wielded responsibly." After a tense moment, Aurelia nodded. "Very well, I will join you. But know this. The journey ahead is not just dangerous. It will challenge every assumption, every belief you hold. Are you prepared?" "We are," Isabella said firmly. "We have no choice." Next, they sought Cassian Rahl, a tactician and descendant of the Empire's military strategists. Cassian lived in the city's older quarter amidst the ruins of fortifications and training grounds. His eyes, sharp and calculating, assessed them quickly. "The Order has grown bold," he said. "Lucien's ambitions cannot be ignored. Strategy alone will not suffice, but combined with knowledge, artifacts, and trust, perhaps victory is possible. I will join you, for the sake of the Empire's legacy, and to prevent chaos." Finally, they approached Celine Marrow, a skilled warrior whose ancestors had protected the Empire's relics through generations. Celine's residence was on the outskirts of the forest bordering the city, a place shrouded in mist and legend. Her prowess was legendary, her knowledge of traps, stealth, and combat unmatched. "I've been expecting you," she said, her voice calm but resolute. "The Order moves too quickly, and Lucien's obsession endangers more than you realize. I will fight, but know this: the heart tests all who approach it. Only the worthy will survive the trials ahead." With their allies gathered, Elias and Isabella returned to a hidden safe house, the heart of eternity pulsing softly in its protective satchel. The 4 new companions examined the manuscripts, the fragments, and the maps, formulating a strategy. The heart's final chamber lies deep within the ruins of the obscured empire, Aurelia explained. But it is surrounded by mechanisms, puzzles, and traps designed to test courage, intellect, and moral judgment. Lucian will not arrive unprepared. We must anticipate his tactics and counter them. Cassian added, "We will need precise coordination. The Order cannot be allowed to flank us or isolate the heart. Every move must be planned, every path accounted for. The manuscripts give guidance, but judgment will be ours." Celine, sharpening her blades, spoke next. "We must also prepare for physical confrontations. The Order is relentless and Lucian is formidable. Strategy and intellect are essential, but strength, agility, and quick thinking will save our lives in the chaos to come." Isabella turned to Elias, the weight of responsibility clear in her eyes. "We have allies, yes, but the trials ahead will test each of us individually. The heart is not just a relic. It is a reflection of our choices, our intentions, and our morality. If we fail, the consequences will ripple through history." Elias clenched his fists, determination burning within him. "Then we succeed. Not for glory, not for power, but to preserve the knowledge, the history, and the responsibility entrusted to us. Lucian and the Order will not stop us. Not if we stand together." The group spent hours mapping their strategy, decoding complex symbols, and preparing for the ascent to the Empire's ruins. Each member contributed expertise, Aurelia interpreting the moral puzzles, Cassian planning tactical maneuvers, Celine training them in stealth and defense, and Isabella guiding the group with insight gleaned from the manuscripts. Night fell, and the city below glimmered under the stars. The heart of eternity pulsed faintly, as if aware of the preparations, resonating with its protectors. Outside, shadows shifted. The shadowed Order and Lucien were still moving, still scheming, and still dangerous. But for the first time, Elias and Isabella felt a measure of confidence. They were no longer alone. They had allies, strategy, and the wisdom of the manuscripts. The final stage of their journey, the ultimate confrontation, was approaching. As the group rested, Aurelia spoke softly, almost to herself. The heart reveals its lessons not to those who seek power, but to those who seek understanding. Remember that. Its true strength lies not in its energy, but in the choices it demands. Elias looked at Isabella, the resolve in her eyes reflecting his own. "We understand," he said. "We will face whatever comes next, with knowledge, courage, and trust." The wind stirred the pages of the manuscripts, the heart pulsed in quiet resonance, and the city slept unaware of the storm gathering above and below its streets. The final confrontation was approaching, and history itself waited to see who would prevail. Chapter 15. Ruins of the Obscured Empire. The journey to the obscured empire's ruins stretched for miles beyond the city's outskirts, winding through forests, cliffs, and valleys steeped in centuries of forgotten history. Elias, Isabella, and their newly gathered allies, Aurelia, Cassian, and Selene, moved with cautious determination, the heart of eternity safely secured in Elias's satchel. The air seemed thicker here, saturated with the weight of time, and the ruins ahead promised both revelation and peril. "The manuscripts warn of the first trials," Aurelia said quietly, tracing the edges of an ancient map. "The ruins themselves are alive with mechanisms, puzzles, and traps. Every step tests intellect, courage, and morality." Elias adjusted the satchel, feeling the faint pulse of the heart. "Then we must remain focused. Lucien will not wait. The order is already on our trail." Cassian, scanning the terrain ahead, nodded. "We'll need strategy and coordination. Ambushes, collapsing pathways, and ancient defenses are all likely. Split movements could be fatal." Selene's eyes gleamed with readiness. "We also need to move swiftly. The order strikes fast and without mercy. One misstep, and the heart, or one of us, could be lost." They approached the ruins cautiously, the forest giving way to jagged stone structures partially reclaimed by nature. Vines and roots wound through broken columns, and crumbled archways hinted at the grandeur of a civilization long vanished. Yet the energy here was palpable, as though the empire itself had left an enduring sentinel behind. The first trial revealed itself almost immediately. A collapsed bridge stretched across a chasm, jagged stones below promising certain death if they fell. Ancient glyphs adorned the sides, their meaning encoded in the fragments of the heart. Elias held the fragments up, and their faint glow illuminated the carvings. "We need to align the symbols to stabilize the bridge," he said, his voice tense. Aurelia stepped forward, examining the glyphs. "The sequence corresponds to historical events. Each choice, each alignment represents a lesson. We must act with intention, not haste." Carefully, they positioned the fragments in accordance with the manuscripts. The bridge shuddered but held, glowing faintly with protective energy. One misaligned fragment, and the stones would have crumbled. "Step by step," Isabella reminded them. "Slow and deliberate. Watch each other." The group advanced, their senses alert. The ruins seemed to shift subtly around them. Walls narrowing, stones sliding into place, almost as though the Empire's consciousness was observing their every move. Suddenly, shadows moved across the ruins. Agents of the Shadowed Order emerged from behind broken walls and trees, their presence immediately hostile. At the forefront was Lucien, his eyes fixed on the heart of eternity, cloak flowing with commanding menace. "You've come far," Lucien said, voice echoing across the ruins. "But this is where your journey ends. The heart is mine, and history demands it." Elias stepped forward, medallion in hand. "It belongs to no one seeking domination. Its power is responsibility, not ambition." Lucien's smile was cold. "Then you leave me no choice." The Order attacked with precision, arrows slicing through the air, traps activating along the broken pathways. The ruins themselves became a battleground, shifting stones, falling debris, and hidden mechanisms making each step treacherous. Selene led the counter, moving fluidly through the chaos, deflecting blades and guiding the group safely past collapsing sections. Cassian coordinated their positions, predicting the Order's tactics and using the terrain to their advantage. Aurelia, standing near the fragments, interpreted glyphs in real time, activating protective mechanisms embedded in the ruins. Elias focused on the heart, using its pulses to illuminate safe paths and detect hidden traps. The heart seemed to respond to his intent, guiding them through the perilous ruins while protecting them from Lucian's aggressive advances. Despite their coordination, the order pressed relentlessly. Lucien struck with alarming skill, nearly seizing a fragment in a rapid maneuver. Elias countered, medallion clashing with Lucien's grasp, sparks of energy flaring between them. "Focus on the path," Isabella shouted, parrying an attack from an order agent. "Don't let him distract you from the heart." The ruins shifted again. A stone arch collapsed behind them, blocking retreat. They were cornered with Lucien advancing and the order closing in. "Prepare yourselves," Celine said, drawing twin blades. "This is the first real battle in the ruins. Survival depends on precision and trust." They fought with coordination born of desperation and training. Cassian's tactics predicted enemy movements, Aurelia's knowledge activated protective glyphs, and Celine's combat skill neutralized immediate threats. Elias and Isabella maintained alignment of the fragments, ensuring the heart's energy shield remained active. Lucien, realizing brute force would not suffice, activated a hidden mechanism beneath his feet. The ground shuddered violently, revealing a pit lined with spikes. "Fall, and your journey ends," he declared. Elias and Isabella jumped aside just in time, landing on safe ground. The heart pulsed strongly, projecting protective energy that deflected falling debris and delayed the order's advance. "Move," Isabella shouted. "We must reach the central chamber before Lucian recovers." Through narrow corridors and collapsing halls, they navigated the ruins, combining intellect, agility, and trust to survive. The Order's forces were relentless, but the team's coordination, aided by the heart and their understanding of the manuscripts, allowed them to evade the worst of the ambushes. Finally, they reached a central courtyard, a vast open space where the ruins' grandeur was most evident. At its center, an enormous pedestal awaited, the next stage in the heart's path, glowing faintly in anticipation. Lucien appeared once more, his fury uncontained. "You cannot win! The heart will be mine." Elias stood tall, fragments aligned and medallion ready. "We do not seek to own it. We seek to understand and protect it. Its purpose is greater than your ambition." The stage was set. The ruins trembled with potential energy, the heart pulsing in response to their intent, the order closing in, and Lucian preparing for a decisive confrontation. The first clash had tested their courage, intellect, and teamwork. But the true trial, the confrontation that would determine the heart's fate, was about to begin. Above the ruins, the wind howled through broken towers and collapsed archways, carrying the echoes of a civilization long gone. Below, the heart of eternity pulsed, a living testament to responsibility, wisdom, and the enduring legacy of the obscured empire. Elias, Isabella, and their allies prepared for the next wave, aware that survival depended not only on skill and strength, but on understanding the deeper lessons embedded in the ruins, the heart, and the choices before them. The final stages of their journey were unfolding, and the battle for history itself had begun. Chapter 16. The Central Trial. The central courtyard of the obscured empire's ruins stretched wide, its crumbling colonnades casting long shadows in the pale sunlight. At its center stood the massive pedestal, carved with intricate symbols that pulsed faintly, resonating with the heart of eternity. Elias, Isabella, Aurelia, Cassian, and Celine approached cautiously, each step measured, aware that the next trial would test more than just their physical skill. It would challenge their intellect, morality, and resolve. "The manuscripts warned us," Aurelia said, voice hushed. "The central trial is unlike anything before. It requires alignment, not just of the fragments, but of intention, understanding, and trust. Every choice has consequences." Elias nodded, clutching the heart satchel tightly. "Then we proceed carefully. Lucien will not give us room for error." As they neared the pedestal, the ruins trembled faintly. Stones shifted, revealing concentric circular platforms leading to the central pedestal. Inscribed on each were symbols representing virtues, dilemmas, and moral paradoxes. The heart pulsed in rhythm with the inscriptions, reacting to their presence. Each step is a choice, Aurelia explained, studying the carvings. One misstep, one lapse in judgment, and the trial could destroy us. Or worse, the heart itself. Cassian scanned the platforms, noting potential hazards. There are triggers here, physical, magical, and intellectual. We must advance in perfect coordination, analyzing each symbol, anticipating Lucian's interference, and guarding each other. Celine's eyes narrowed. I'll handle the physical threats, blades, traps, and ambushes. You focus on the sequences and alignment. They stepped onto the first platform. As Elias aligned the first fragment with the corresponding symbol, a beam of energy shot upward, connecting to the heart. A faint vibration traveled through the ruins, and the next set of symbols glowed softly. Good, Isabella whispered. It's responding. Keep going. From the shadows of the colonnades, Lucian emerged, his cloak flowing, eyes fixed on the heart. You think the trial will favor you? He demanded, voice cold. The Empire designed this to destroy the unworthy. Your intellect and morality will crumble. Elias met his gaze, steady. Then we will prove ourselves worthy, not for power, but for understanding. Lucian moved swiftly, activating mechanisms in the surrounding ruins. Stones shifted, creating barriers while energy spikes erupted from hidden channels. The trial became a battlefield, blending puzzle, trap, and confrontation. Selene engaged the Order agents who had accompanied Lucian, moving with lethal precision to neutralize immediate threats. Cassian directed their positioning, ensuring that the group maintained alignment with the symbols while defending against attacks. Aurelia guided Elias and Isabella through moral dilemmas encoded in the platforms. Choices between self-preservation and risking for the group, between ambition and responsibility, between truth and deception. Each decision influenced the heart's resonance, subtly altering the energy that stabilized the platforms. Elias felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him. Every choice matters, he muttered, aligning a fragment with the symbol representing integrity. The heart pulsed brightly, stabilizing a section of the platform that had begun to sink. Lucien lunged, trying to seize a fragment mid-alignment. The heart reacted instantly, projecting a protective energy barrier that deflected him. Impressive, Lucien said, narrowing his eyes. But the trial is far from over. The ruins shifted again. Platforms rotated, gaps widened, and glyphs changed their patterns. The group paused, reassessing. We need to synchronize our actions, Isabella said firmly. One misalignment and everything collapses. Step by step, they advanced. Aurelia deciphered the symbols. Cassian predicted the Order's attacks. Selene guarded the flanks, and Elias aligned the fragments with Isabella's guidance. The heart pulsed in response to their intent, creating protective fields and stabilizing the shifting platforms. Yet the trial intensified. A massive stone mechanism activated, raising a wall that split the group. Lucian advanced toward Elias, eyes blazing with fury. "This ends now," he shouted, summoning energy to destabilize the platform. Elias held his ground, fragments in hand. "It ends when the heart chooses." The heart responded to their unity. Elias felt a surge of energy, guiding him to align the fragments with precision. The protective barriers expanded, deflecting Lucien's attacks while stabilizing the platform. Meanwhile, Isabella and Aurelia solved a moral puzzle inscribed on the adjacent platform, a series of choices representing sacrifice, justice, and foresight. Their decisions sent resonant pulses through the heart, reinforcing the integrity of the trial. Cassian and Selene defended the perimeter, fending off Order agents attempting to flank them. Each strike, each move was synchronized, a dance of intellect and combat. Lucien, realizing brute force would not prevail, attempted a desperate maneuver. He activated a hidden channel beneath the central pedestal, intending to collapse the entire structure. "You will fail," he roared. Elias, guided by the heart, anticipated the mechanism. "Align the final fragments," he shouted. Together with Isabella, they positioned the remaining crystals, the heart resonating with unprecedented intensity. A beam of energy shot upward, stabilizing the central pedestal and locking the ruin's mechanisms. Lucien was thrown backward, shielded only partially by a barrier of light. He staggered, fury and disbelief in his eyes. "Impossible." How?" Aurelia stepped forward. "It is not power alone that decides worthiness. It is understanding, courage, and moral integrity. The heart chooses those who are worthy in all dimensions." Elias, breathing heavily, aligned the last fragment. The central pedestal glowed brilliantly, projecting a radiant symbol into the sky. The trial was complete. Lucien, realizing his defeat, retreated into the shadows, leaving a final warning. The Order would not abandon their pursuit. Elias and Isabella, with their allies, stood victorious, but aware that this was only a prelude to the ultimate confrontation. The ruins quieted, the energy of the heart settling into a harmonious pulse. Elias looked around at their companions. "We did it," he said. "But the final trial still awaits." Isabella nodded. "Yes, the central chamber has tested our courage, intellect, and morality. We have survived and proven worthy. Now we must prepare for the ultimate confrontation with Lucian and the Order." The heart pulsed softly, a reminder of its power and responsibility. The ruins, ancient and sentient, seemed to breathe with them, acknowledging their success while warning of the challenges yet to come. Elias tightened his grip on the medallion. "Then we press on, together." Above the ruins, clouds gathered, the wind carrying whispers of the past. The heart of eternity pulsed in resonance with its protectors, guiding them toward the final stage of their journey. The battle for knowledge, power, and history was far from over, but Elias, Isabella, and their allies were ready. The echoes of the obscured empire reverberated through the ruins, a reminder that wisdom, courage, and moral choice would determine the fate of the heart and all who sought it. Chapter 17. The Last Threshold. The ruins of the obscured empire stretched endlessly, a labyrinth of broken stone, tangled roots, and ancient architecture reclaimed by time. The central trial had tested them, and now Elias, Isabella, Aurelia, Cassian, and Celine stood before the threshold of the final chamber, the place where the heart of eternity had been created and safeguarded for centuries. Its doors, massive slabs of black stone carved with symbols of guardianship, pulsed faintly with the heart's resonance, as if recognizing the protectors approaching. "The manuscripts call this the last threshold," Aurelia said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It is the final defense of the Empire. Everything beyond this point is designed to test not only skill and intellect, but courage, morality, and unity." Elias tightened his grip on the medallion, feeling the faint pulse of the heart through the satchel. "We've survived every trial so far. We know the heart responds to understanding and intent. But this feels different, heavier." "Because it is," Cassian said, eyes scanning the carved doors. "The Empire designed this chamber to prevent anyone unworthy from reaching the heart's core. And I have a feeling Lucien will have prepared every defense imaginable." Celine stepped forward, her blades gleaming faintly in the filtered light. "Then we stay sharp. Every move, every decision counts. No mistakes." As they approached, the doors began to shift, responding to their proximity and the alignment of the fragments Elias carried. Symbols glowed, forming a sequence that matched the manuscript's instructions, while glyphs representing ethical dilemmas and moral judgment resonated faintly along the edges. "Step carefully," Isabella instructed. "One wrong alignment and the doors will lock or worse, trigger defenses." Elias aligned the first fragment. A faint vibration traveled through the stone and the doors pulsed with light. Cassian signaled the team to proceed, advancing step by step, guided by Aurelia's interpretation of the glyphs and Celine's vigilant defense. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. From hidden passages, agents of the Shadowed Order emerged, their weapons drawn, their presence an immediate threat. At the forefront was Lucien himself, cloak flowing and eyes ablaze with obsession. "You've made it far enough," he said, voice echoing across the ruins. "But this is where the heart's protection ends and my dominion begins." Elias stepped forward, fragments in hand. "The heart does not belong to you, Lucien. It belongs to no one who seeks power over knowledge. Its purpose is understanding, responsibility, and preservation." Lucien's smile was cold, almost feral. "Then you leave me no choice." He raised a hand, and a surge of energy emanated from the ruins, activating hidden mechanisms throughout the area. Stone columns shifted, traps activated, and the walls themselves seemed to twist, creating a gauntlet between the team and the chamber's entrance. Celine reacted instantly, deflecting swinging blades and guiding Elias and Isabella across collapsing platforms. Cassian analyzed the traps, shouting instructions to navigate safe paths while maintaining alignment with the heart's fragments. Aurelia, standing near the glowing fragments, deciphered glyphs in real time. "The doors are responding to both our intent and our alignment. The heart's resonance is stabilizing some of the defenses, but Lucien is actively countering it." Elias focused, concentrating on the pulse of the heart. The fragments glowed brightly, projecting protective energy fields that deflected attacks and stabilized collapsing pathways. Each correct alignment countered Lucien's attempts to disrupt their progress. Lucien, realizing brute force would not succeed, triggered a hidden chamber beneath the ruins. A section of the floor collapsed, revealing a pit lined with spikes. "Fall, and the heart will be mine." Isabella grabbed Elias's arm. "Jump together!" she shouted. They leaped across the pit, fragments secure, landing on stable stone. Celine covered their flanks, neutralizing Order agents attempting to pursue. Cassian shouted directions, coordinating the group's movements across the shifting ruins. Aurelia, the symbols. Focus on the alignment sequence. "Celine, cover the left flank." "Elias, keep the heart steady." The group pressed forward, navigating increasingly complex mechanisms, rotating platforms, pressure-sensitive stones, energy barriers activated by intent, and glyphs representing moral dilemmas. Each decision influenced the heart's resonance, determining which paths would stabilize and which would collapse. Lucien grew increasingly frustrated. He lunged toward Elias, attempting to seize a fragment mid-alignment. The heart reacted instantaneously, projecting a pulse of energy that threw Lucien back and temporarily disabled several Order agents. Elias aligned another fragment, the glowing symbols stabilizing a massive rotating platform that had begun to tilt dangerously. "Step carefully," he shouted. "Every alignment matters." Aurelia solved a sequence of ethical glyphs representing justice, sacrifice, and foresight. The symbols projected into the air, reinforcing the protective field around the team and guiding the next step toward the chamber. The team advanced, working in perfect coordination. Celine deflected attacks, Cassian predicted enemy maneuvers, Aurelia decoded the sequences, and Elias and Isabella maintained precise alignment of the fragments. The ruins themselves seemed to respond to their unity, shifting in harmony with their actions. Finally, they reached the massive doors of the final chamber. The symbols on the doors glowed brightly, indicating that the heart's resonance and their combined intent were correctly aligned. Yet, as they prepared to enter, Lucien appeared one last time, energy crackling around him. "This ends now," he shouted, launching himself toward the group with all the fury of his obsession. The battle erupted in full force. The ruins trembled, energy arcs clashed, and stone columns fell as Elias, Isabella, and their allies defended the heart while maintaining alignment. Celine moved with lethal precision, taking down Order agents while Cassian coordinated defensive maneuvers and counterattacks. Aurelia focused on the glyphs, ensuring the heart's energy remained stable. Elias and Isabella concentrated on the fragments, projecting energy to reinforce the protective field around the doors. The heart pulsed in resonance with their intent, countering Lucien's attacks and stabilizing the shifting mechanisms. Lucien, Realizing he could not brute force his way through, attempted a final desperate attack. He channeled energy into the central pedestal, aiming to destabilize the heart itself. Elias reacted instantly, aligning the final fragment. A surge of light erupted, neutralizing Lucien's energy and projecting a protective barrier that shielded the team and the heart. Lucien was thrown back, landing hard against the ruined stones. His expression was a mixture of rage, disbelief, and grudging respect. "Impossible. How?" he muttered, struggling to rise. Elias stood firm, fragments aligned, heart glowing steadily. It is not power alone that decides worthiness. Understanding, courage, and moral integrity prevail. The heart chooses those who are worthy in all dimensions. Lucien, defeated for the moment, retreated into the shadows, leaving a chilling warning. The Order would not abandon their pursuit. The team exhaled collectively. The ruins were quiet, the energy of the heart stabilizing, the doors of the final chamber glowing an invitation. Aurelia stepped forward. "We've passed the last defenses. The final chamber awaits. But be warned, the greatest trial is not the mechanisms, not Lucien, but the choices we will face inside." Elias nodded, clutching the medallion. "Then we move forward. Together." The heart pulsed softly in their satchel, a living testament to responsibility, wisdom, and the enduring challenge of the obscured empire. The threshold had been crossed. The final stage of their journey, the ultimate confrontation, lay just beyond the doors, above the ruins. The wind howled through broken towers and collapsed archways, carrying the echoes of a civilization long gone. The heart of eternity pulsed in harmony with its protectors, guiding them toward the last trial, and the confrontation that would decide the fate of history itself. Chapter 18. The Chamber of Eternity. The massive stone doors shuddered as Elias, Isabella, and their allies approached, fragments aligned and the heart pulsing softly within its protective satchel. Beyond the threshold lay the Chamber of Eternity, the place where the obscured empire had concentrated the heart's power and designed its ultimate trial. Symbols etched into the doors glowed, responding to their alignment, as though the chamber itself was aware of their approach. The manuscripts refer to this as the heart of the Empire's wisdom, Aurelia whispered. The final chamber will test not just our skill, but our choices, intentions, and understanding. Every decision here has consequences. Cassian scanned the room beyond the doors through the faint light that spilled out. Expect traps, illusions, and challenges that will test both our intellect and morality. Lucien will likely confront us here in full force. Stay focused. Celine adjusted her stance, blades ready. We move as one. No mistakes. Every step counts. Elias took a deep breath. Then we proceed together. The heart will guide us if our intentions are true. They stepped into the chamber. The air was thick with ancient energy, charged with the power of the heart. Pillars of black stone rose in concentric circles, inscribed with glyphs representing virtues, moral choices, and historical lessons. The floor was a mosaic of intricate symbols that shifted and reformed as they moved, responding to the heart's resonance and their intent. From the shadows, Lucien emerged, his presence dominating the chamber. "Welcome to the end of your journey," he said, eyes blazing with obsession. "Here, the heart's power will finally belong to me." Elias stepped forward, fragments in hand. The heart does not belong to those who seek domination. Its power is responsibility, understanding, and preservation. "You cannot claim it," Lucien laughed, a harsh, cold sound. "Then you leave me no choice." He raised his hands, channeling energy to manipulate the chamber. The glyphs on the floor pulsed violently, creating shifting platforms and deadly energy traps. The pillars rotated, projecting beams of light and creating illusions that distorted perception. Celine moved first, deflecting incoming attacks and guiding Elias and Isabella across unstable platforms. Cassian coordinated their movements, predicting Lucien's maneuvers and identifying stable paths. Aurelia focused on the moral sequences embedded in the floor mosaics, deciphering the puzzles that would stabilize the chamber. Elias felt the heart pulse in rhythm with his intent. Each correct alignment of the fragments stabilized sections of the floor and neutralized some of the illusions. But the chamber was alive, testing their intellect, courage, and moral reasoning simultaneously. Lucien, frustrated by their coordination, summoned shadows that twisted into agents of the order, forcing the group to split attention between combat and the chamber's shifting mechanisms. "Focus on the heart," Isabella shouted. "Its resonance is the key to stabilizing the platforms." Elias aligned another fragment. The floor beneath him glowed brightly, revealing the next sequence of moral challenges, choices between sacrifice and self-preservation, justice and expedience, truth and deception. Each choice triggered resonances in the heart, altering the chamber's energy and revealing safe paths. Aurelia interpreted the sequences aloud, guiding the group through complex dilemmas. "We must choose integrity over expedience, wisdom over desire, and unity over individual gain. Only then will the heart stabilize the chamber fully." The battle escalated. Lucian, realizing brute force could not succeed, activated a massive energy surge from the central pedestal. Beams of light shot outward, destabilizing platforms and threatening to collapse the chamber entirely. Celine deflected the nearest beams with her blades, guiding Elias and Isabella to safety. Cassian directed countermaneuvers, while Aurelia focused on deciphering the final sequences of moral glyphs. Elias clenched his fists, fragments glowing intensely. "Align the final sequences. Trust the heart," he shouted. Step by step, guided by intent and teamwork, they activated the final alignments. The heart pulsed brightly, projecting a protective dome that neutralized Lucian's energy surge and stabilized the chamber. The pillars stopped shifting, the illusions faded, and the floor solidified. Lucien, staggering, glared at them with fury. "Impossible." How?" Elias stepped forward, fragments held high. "It is not power alone that determines worthiness. Understanding, courage, and moral integrity prevail. The heart chooses those who embody all three." The final confrontation erupted. Lucien attacked with relentless ferocity, combining energy manipulation and combat skill. Celine blocked and countered, while Cassian directed defensive and offensive maneuvers. Aurelia continued interpreting the chamber's moral sequences, keeping the heart's resonance stable. Elias and Isabella focused entirely on alignment, using the heart's pulses to anticipate Lucian's attacks and reinforce protective energy fields. Every strike, every choice, every alignment determined not just survival, but the outcome of the trial itself. As Lucien prepared a final, desperate strike to seize the heart, Elias projected the fragment's combined energy. The heart responded fully, radiating a brilliant light that enveloped the chamber. Lucien was repelled, thrown back by the power of the heart itself. The energy subsided. The chamber was silent. The heart pulsed steadily, glowing brighter than ever, resonating with Elias, Isabella, and their allies. Lucien, defeated but alive, retreated into a shadowed passage, leaving a final warning. The Order would not give up. Elias exhaled, the weight of relief and responsibility washing over him. "It's over, for now," he said. "We've survived the heart's ultimate trial." Isabella nodded, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Yes, but the heart is more than a relic. Its purpose is understanding and responsibility. We must protect it, learn from it, and ensure it is never misused." The allies gathered around the heart, its light illuminating their faces. Aurelia smiled faintly. "The trial has tested every aspect of worthiness, intellect, courage, morality. You have proven yourselves. The heart recognizes it," Cassian added, "and yet the threat is not gone. Lucien and the Order will return. We must be vigilant, prepared for whatever comes next." Celine sheathed her blades. "But for now, we've survived. And we've reached the heart." Elias gazed at the glowing relic, understanding its significance. "This is only the beginning. The heart will guide us, but the choices we make from here will determine not just our fate, but the fate of history itself." The chamber pulsed with quiet energy, the heart resonating in harmony with its protectors. The ruins outside seemed to breathe with the weight of centuries past, acknowledging the triumph, yet reminding them that vigilance and wisdom were eternal responsibilities. Together, Elias, Isabella, and their allies prepared to face whatever challenges awaited beyond the Chamber of Eternity. The final stages of their journey, the ultimate confrontation and the resolution of the heart's story, were drawing near. The obscured empire's legacy had endured, tested through courage, intellect, and moral integrity. And now, in the hands of the worthy, it would continue to shape the course of history. Chapter 19. The Shadow Approaches. The obscured empire's ruins had fallen into an eerie quiet. The central chamber and the heart of eternity were secured, but the air carried tension, heavy with the knowledge that Lucian and the Shadowed Order were regrouping for one final strike. Elias, Isabella, and their allies emerged from the Chamber of Eternity, the heart pulsing softly in its satchel, a constant reminder of the responsibility they bore. "We've survived the trials, aligned the heart, and proven our worth," Aurelia said, her voice calm yet solemn. But this calm is deceptive. The Order knows the heart is within reach. Lucian will not wait long before striking again. Cassian scanned the perimeter of the ruins. "We need a defensive position, traps, and fallback points. They will attempt everything: force, subterfuge, even manipulation of the heart's energy. We must anticipate every tactic." Celine nodded, checking her blades. "We need to prepare for combat, but also for deception. The Order will exploit fear and distraction. One misstep, and the heart could be lost." Elias adjusted the satchel, feeling the steady pulse of the heart. "Then we plan, anticipate, and stay unified. The heart has guided us so far. It will guide us now if we act with purpose and caution." The group moved through the ruins, selecting strategic positions atop collapsed towers and sturdy platforms. They reinforced weak structures, laid subtle traps, and established clear paths for rapid movement. Aurelia mapped glyphs on the ground, projecting illusions that could confuse the Order while still allowing their team to navigate safely. Cassian assigned roles. Elias and Isabella maintain the heart's alignment. Celine, cover our flanks and engage any attackers. Aurelia, continue to manipulate glyphs and sequences. I will coordinate movements and predict enemy tactics. Night fell, bringing with it a sense of foreboding. Shadows stretched across the ruins, and the faint sounds of distant movement suggested that the Order was already approaching. The team waited, hearts pounding, muscles tense, each aware that the next encounter could determine the heart's fate. Hours passed in careful vigilance. Then, without warning, a dark ripple spread across the ruins. Lucian emerged from the shadows, accompanied by the most elite agents of the Order. His eyes were blazing with obsession, his aura charged with energy drawn from forbidden techniques. "You have done well," he said, voice carrying over the ruins. "But all paths converge here. The heart will be mine, and history will recognize my dominion." Elias stepped forward, fragments in hand. "You misunderstand the heart's purpose, Lucian. Its power is not for domination. It is responsibility, understanding, and preservation." "You cannot claim it," Lucien's expression darkened. "Then you leave me no choice." With a gesture, Lucian activated traps embedded within the ruins, collapsing pillars, shifting platforms, and energy barriers designed to isolate and overwhelm. Shadowed Order agents attacked in coordinated waves, forcing the group to split focus between defense, strategic movement, and protecting the heart. Celine moved with lethal precision, neutralizing attackers and guiding Elias and Isabella across unstable platforms. Cassian directed the team's positioning, ensuring that they maintained alignment with the heart's fragments while defending against ambushes. Aurelia projected illusions and activated glyphs that stabilized weak structures, countering Lucian's manipulations. Elias felt the heart pulse in rhythm with his intent. Each correct alignment stabilized platforms and deflected some of the Order's attacks. The heart's energy responded to their teamwork, projecting protective fields that shielded them from the most dangerous traps. Lucien, realizing direct assault was insufficient, attempted to manipulate the chamber's energy itself. Beams of light surged from hidden conduits, threatening to collapse the ruins entirely. "Focus on the heart," Isabella shouted. "Its resonance will stabilize the structures if we act in unison." Elias aligned another fragment, the glowing symbol stabilizing a section of the ruins that had begun to tilt dangerously. Aurelia guided them through the final sequence of moral and ethical glyphs, choices between sacrifice and self-preservation, honesty and deception, foresight and impulsiveness. Cassian shouted orders, coordinating defensive formations while anticipating Lucian's next move. Celine deflected attacks, neutralized incoming agents, and protected the flanks. Lucian, frustrated by their coordination, unleashed a final wave of energy, aiming directly at the heart. Elias and Isabella projected their combined focus, fragments glowing brightly. The heart responded fully, radiating a brilliant pulse that neutralized Lucian's assault and reinforced the structural stability of the ruins. The immediate wave of attacks subsided. The ruins trembled gently, settling into quiet resonance with the heart. Lucian staggered back, fury and disbelief etched on his face. "Impossible! How?" Elias stepped forward, holding the fragments firmly. "It is not power alone that determines worthiness. Understanding, courage, and moral integrity are what the heart values. Only those who embody these can protect it." Lucien, defeated for the moment, retreated into the shadows, leaving a chilling warning. The Order would not give up. The allies exhaled collectively. The ruins were silent, but tension remained. The heart pulsed softly in Elias's satchel, reminding them that vigilance, unity, and preparation were paramount. Aurelia stepped forward, studying the surrounding ruins. This was a warning, not the end. Lucian's obsession will drive him to return. We must be ready for whatever comes next. The ultimate confrontation is near. Cassian surveyed their positions. "We've prepared traps, coordinated defenses, and reinforced weak points. But the next battle will test everything: strategy, courage, and moral judgment." Celine sheathed her blades, scanning the shadows. "And we must remember, the heart's power is tied to intent. We cannot act rashly or selfishly. Only unity and purpose will see us through." Elias looked at Isabella, determination in his eyes. "Then we stay vigilant, ready, and focused. Whatever comes, we face it together. The heart will guide us if our intent is true." The night deepened, the ruins quiet, and the heart pulsed with steady energy. Every shadow, every whisper of wind, carried the weight of the impending confrontation. Lucian and the Shadowed Order were regrouping, plotting their final move. But Elias, Isabella, and their allies were ready. They had survived every trial, navigated every trap, and proven themselves worthy of the heart. Now, they prepared for the ultimate battle, a confrontation that would decide not just the fate of the Heart of Eternity, but the course of history itself. The obscured empire's ruins seemed to breathe around them, acknowledging their triumph while warning that vigilance, wisdom, and moral integrity were eternal responsibilities. The final confrontation was imminent, and the stakes had never been higher. Elias tightened his grip on the medallion, fragment secure. "Tomorrow," he said quietly, "we face history itself." Chapter 20. The Final Confrontation. Dawn broke over the ruins of the obscured empire, painting the ancient stones with pale gold and deep shadows. The air was thick with tension, each breath carrying the weight of centuries and the looming confrontation. Elias, Isabella, Aurelia, Cassian, and Selene stood poised, the Heart of Eternity pulsing steadily in Elias's satchel. This was the moment they had prepared for, the ultimate battle against Lucian and the Shadowed Order. "The manuscripts spoke of this day," Aurelia said quietly, eyes tracing the intricate patterns in the ruins. "The heart's power is immense, but it also demands understanding, courage, and moral clarity. If you falter, even slightly, the consequences will be catastrophic." Cassian scanned the horizon. The order is here. Lucien has brought his full force. Their numbers are greater than ever, and the terrain is fully rigged to their advantage. But we have preparation, unity, and the heart itself on our side. Selene flexed her fingers over the hilt of her blades. And we have experience. Every trial, every battle has led us here. We know what to expect, and we know how to act together. Elias adjusted the satchel, feeling the heart's pulse synchronize with his own heartbeat. Then we act with purpose, courage, and unity. The heart has guided us so far. It will guide us now if we are true to its principles. From the shadows of the ruins, Lucien emerged. His cloak billowed, eyes blazing with obsession and fury. "You have survived every test," he said, voice echoing across the stones. "But the heart will be mine. History will recognize my dominion." Elias stepped forward, fragments in hand. "You misunderstand its purpose, Lucien. The heart is not for domination. It is responsibility, knowledge, and preservation. You cannot claim it." Lucien's expression darkened. "Then you leave me no choice." With a gesture, the Shadowed Order launched their assault. Arrows, energy blasts, and dark constructs surged forward, attempting to overwhelm the group. The ruins themselves shifted, responding to the heart's power and Lucien's manipulation, creating unstable platforms, collapsing pillars, and deadly traps. Selene moved fluidly, deflecting attacks and guiding Elias and Isabella across the treacherous terrain. Cassian coordinated defensive positions and counterattacks, predicting the Order's maneuvers. Aurelia activated glyphs and illusions to stabilize platforms and protect the team. Elias focused entirely on the heart, aligning the fragments with precision. The heart pulsed in response, creating protective barriers and stabilizing the shifting ruins. Its energy amplified their coordination, allowing them to counter the Order's assaults with unity and skill. Lucien, frustrated by their resilience, unleashed his full power, channeling energy to destabilize the heart itself. Beams of light and dark energy collided violently, threatening to tear the ruins apart. "Align the fragments," Isabella shouted. "We must protect the heart." Step by step, Elias and Isabella synchronized the fragments, each pulse of the heart resonating with their intent. Aurelia guided them through moral sequences embedded in the ruins, representing choices between sacrifice and self-preservation, justice and expedience, truth and deception. Cassian and Selene defended their flanks and neutralized incoming threats. Lucien struck directly at Elias, energy crackling around his hands. "You will fail. You cannot contain the heart." Elias met his gaze, fragments glowing. "It is not power alone that decides worthiness. Understanding, courage, and moral integrity prevail. Only those who embody all three can protect it." The heart responded fully. A blinding pulse of light erupted from Elias's satchel, sweeping across the battlefield, neutralizing Lucien's energy and dispersing the Shadowed Order's constructs. The ruins trembled, stabilizing under the heart's influence. Lucien staggered, eyes wide with disbelief. "Impossible. How—" Isabella stepped forward, voice calm but firm. "It is not strength alone. It is unity, intent, and understanding. You could have chosen differently, Lucien, but your obsession blinds you." Lucien's last attack surged forward, energy twisting toward the heart. Elias held the fragments high, projecting the heart's protective energy. In that instant, the heart responded with full sentience, amplifying their intent and projecting a radiant shield that neutralized Lucien's assault completely. The energy pulse enveloped Lucien, halting him in place. For the first time, his fury gave way to shock and awe. The heart, it recognizes them. It chooses. Aurelia spoke softly, almost reverently. The heart chooses not the strongest, nor the most ambitious. It chooses those who act with wisdom, courage, and moral clarity. Your intent alone cannot command it. Lucien, defeated, retreated into the shadows, leaving the Order scattered and demoralized. Elias, Isabella, and their allies stood victorious, the heart pulsing steadily, glowing brighter than ever. Selene sheathed her blades, breathing heavily. "We did it." "The heart is safe," Cassian nodded, surveying the ruins. "But we must remain vigilant. The order may recover. Lucian may return. Our vigilance cannot end here." Elias looked down at the heart, feeling its pulse in harmony with his own. It is more than a relic. It is responsibility, wisdom, and the legacy of the obscured empire. We must protect it, learn from it, and ensure its power is never misused. Isabella placed a hand on his shoulder. "And we will. Together we have survived every trial. We have proven worthy. Now it is time to restore the knowledge, preserve the legacy, and safeguard the future." The heart pulsed brightly, resonating with all of them. The ruins, ancient and sentient, seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. History itself had been preserved, not by ambition or power, but by courage, understanding, and moral integrity. Elias, Isabella, and their allies turned to one another, aware that the journey was not over, but that the greatest battle had been won. The heart of eternity was safe, its purpose fulfilled, and its protectors had proven their worth. As dawn fully broke over the ruins, the obscured empire's legacy stood renewed, a testament to the endurance of wisdom, courage, and moral choice. The heart pulsed gently, guiding its protectors toward the future, vigilant, wise, and united. The ultimate confrontation was complete. Victory had been claimed not through power alone, but through unity, moral integrity, and understanding. And the heart of eternity would endure, a beacon of responsibility and hope for all who would come after. Chapter 21. Legacy of the Heart. The ruins of the obscured empire were quiet now. Dawn had given way to a clear, golden morning, sunlight streaming across broken columns, tangled vines, and the vast stone courtyards that had once echoed with the life of a civilization long forgotten. Elias, Isabella, Aurelia, Cassian, and Selene stood together, the heart of eternity pulsing softly in Elias's satchel. The ultimate confrontation had passed. Lucian had been repelled, the shadowed order scattered, and the heart's legacy preserved. Elias exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of relief and responsibility. "It's over," he said quietly. "The trials, the battles, everything. The heart is safe, and the empire's legacy endures." Isabella placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's never truly over, Elias. The heart demands vigilance. Its power must be respected, its lessons remembered. But today, we've honored it." Aurelia stepped forward, her gaze sweeping the ruins. The obscured empire left these trials not as traps, but as guidance. They tested intellect, courage, and morality to ensure that only those worthy could inherit knowledge and responsibility. You have proven yourselves. History will remember this, not for conquest, but for wisdom. Cassian nodded. "We survived because we trusted each other, made the right choices, and acted with purpose. That is what the heart values more than power or ambition." Selene sheathed her blades, the tension in her muscles finally easing. "And it's a reminder that vigilance and unity are stronger than any sword or spell. We've protected the heart, but we must ensure it continues to guide those who come after us." Elias looked down at the heart, feeling its faint pulse through the satchel. Its energy was gentle yet firm, resonating with all that had happened. He thought of the trials, the moral dilemmas, the battles, and the moments of courage. Each had shaped them, tested them, and proven their worthiness. Lucien's ambition was dangerous, Elias said, but even he was tested by the heart. He lacked understanding, moral integrity, and humility. That is why he failed, Isabella nodded. And that is the lesson we carry forward. The heart chooses those who are worthy in thought, action, and intent. It is not a tool for domination. Its power is a responsibility we must uphold. The group began to move through the ruins, returning to the central courtyard. Along the way, they paused to examine inscriptions, glyphs, and remnants of the empire. Every stone, every symbol told a story of wisdom, courage, and foresight. Aurelia translated some of the ancient texts aloud, revealing lessons for those who would come after. Cassian knelt beside a fallen column, running his hand over its carved surface. These ruins were not just a challenge. They were a guide, a living testament to the Empire's values. We must carry these lessons with us, beyond these walls, into the world. Selena joined him, eyes scanning the horizon. And we will. We've faced the greatest threats, navigated impossible trials, and emerged stronger. The heart will continue to guide us and future generations if we remain vigilant. Elias and Isabella reached the central pedestal, the heart glowing gently. Elias placed the fragments carefully beside it, ensuring they remained aligned with the chamber's symbols. The light of the heart expanded, illuminating the entire courtyard, reflecting off broken stones and tangled vines, creating a serene, radiant glow. "This is more than a relic," Isabella said softly. "It is history, wisdom, and responsibility, all in one, and now it is entrusted to those who understand its value." The group gathered around the pedestal, the heart's pulse resonating in harmony with their own. Elias felt a deep sense of connection, not just with the heart, but with the legacy of the obscured empire, with the trials they had endured, and with the unity that had carried them through every challenge. Aurelia stepped forward. "We must record what we have learned. The manuscripts we recovered, the trials we survived, they are knowledge for the future. Let this story, and the lessons of the heart, guide those who come after." Cassian nodded. "We've preserved the heart, but we must also preserve the wisdom of the Empire. Its legacy is not just in power, it is in understanding, courage, and moral integrity." Celine smiled faintly. "And it is our responsibility to ensure it continues to guide, protect, and inspire. That is the true victory." Elias glanced at his companions, feeling the bond that had grown through fire, trial, and victory. "We have faced darkness, tested our minds and hearts, and emerged worthy. The heart will endure because we chose unity, courage, and wisdom over ambition and greed. That is the true legacy." The ruins seemed to respond to their presence, the sunlight highlighting every carved symbol, every broken pillar, every ancient path. It was as though the Empire itself acknowledged their triumph, whispering its approval and blessing. Lucienne and the Shadowed Order, though not completely gone, were defeated. The heart's energy would always resist domination, and its guidance would ensure that only those with worthy intent could approach it again. The balance had been restored, and the lessons of the obscured empire would continue to echo through history. Elias turned to Isabella. "This is only the beginning. The heart will guide us, but the choices we make next, in the world beyond these ruins, will determine how history remembers this day." Isabella smiled. "And we will make those choices together, guided by what we have learned and by the heart itself." The group gathered one last time around the pedestal. Elias held the heart aloft, feeling its pulse in harmony with his own heartbeat. It was a living testament to courage, understanding, and moral integrity, a beacon for the future, and a reminder of the legacy they were now entrusted to protect. Above the ruins, the sun rose fully, casting golden light across broken stones and tangled vines. The ruins were silent but alive, a monument to wisdom and endurance. And at the center, the heart of eternity pulsed steadily, a living testament to the courage, intellect, and morality of those who had proven worthless. Isabella and their allies stood together, aware of the responsibility, ready to face the future, and united in purpose. The trials were over, the heart was safe, and the legacy of the obscured empire would endure. The world outside awaited them, but for now, the ruins were their sanctuary. The heart was their guide, and history itself had been preserved through courage, wisdom, and integrity. The end.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video brought a little light to your day and eased away some of life's tired moments. Please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. There's plenty more content like this coming your way.